Hello YouTube, Scamp the Wolf here, back with another video for your viewing pleasure, and in this video we're going to be ranking the Skillet Discography. I don't think I've done a Skillet Discography, and I'm not going to look it up, so you can probably look that up for yourself. But anyway, we're going to go through it, and we're going to see which Skillet albums are the best, which ones are the worst. Now, Skillet I'm not huge into anymore, but I do have all their albums, so... And they are also an important band, like, because they got me started in rock and metal music, like, back in years ago. Like, I want to say 16 years ago. So, yeah, let's get started. And fair warning, there are some Skillet albums that are pretty bad. So, we're probably going to get to those. Obviously, there's like three. The bottom three are definitely not very good. So, we'll get to them. Like, starting with this one here, Dominion. Simply, this is not a great album, in my opinion. This is easily their weakest album. There's not much to this album, like, other than, like, overproduction, and it just doesn't have any impact. Like, and there's some cringy moments on here, too, like the White Horse, and then Shout Your Freedom, which is another kind of cringy moment as well. Like, it just... What Skillet was doing around this time, like, it also... I think that's what makes this album, like, significantly worse than a lot of the subpar Skillet stuff, is because of what Skillet was doing in 2021 and what John Cooper was doing as well. Like, trying to be, like, say stuff about things and stuff like that. Like, it shows on this album, and I don't really care for it. I will say, surviving the game is okay, I guess. Beyond incredible, even though it's very cheesy. I appreciate it for having, like, a low tuning, I guess. And Refuge as well, like, fine, but, like, I've never, like, personally, like, loved these songs, that's for sure. Yeah, Dominion's just, like, a goose egg, in my opinion. Like, it's just not that strong of an album. They really should have, like, done a much better job, but it's Skillet in 2010s, 2020s. Of course, they're not going to make that perfect of an album. So, kind of an unfortunate one, but it had to be on the list somewhere. Obviously, it ended up last. That's pretty much it. Now, another one that I never really cared for that much. Rise. Again, not that great of an album. Actually, like, it just kind of, like, slow, kind of, like, not much to it. I mean, like, there's the tracks Rise and Sick of It, like, which are alright. What I Believe, whatever. And Not Gonna Die, like, I think those tracks are fine, I guess, as well. Especially Rise, I think. But it's just, like, it just felt more concept-y, like, and it just feels kind of boring, you know? Like, there's not much, like, of what they're trying to get across with, like, all the Christian stuff. Like, it just doesn't, like, hit that hard, to be honest. Like, I never really cared for Rise that much, or this album. Like, and, like, it's not that great. Like, I don't think Skillet has ever made anything that's, like, cringe-worthy, but not, like, Skillet has never made an album that's, like, awful or anything like that. Which is good, I guess, but, like, it's just not a strong album. There's, like, a lot of repetition in the songs as well, especially when you get to Salvation. So it's just kind of a slow, like, bog to get through. Like, I just don't really care for, like, the style, like the Fire and Fury, My Religion, that kind of stuff. Like, just meh. That's basically what it is. Skillet's Rise is just a meh album. There's not really much to say about it other than that. So I guess that's that. The next, another album that I don't really care that much about, Unleashed. And the reason I think this is a little bit better is because, like, I don't know, it's kind of just there again. But I mean, like, it does show them kind of going back to their a little bit, kind of, but with electronics and stuff. It's just again, I don't care that much about some of the songs, especially tracks like Lions. I mean, like, come on, you could do better than that. And then tracks like Famous and like Burn It Down, Saviors of the World, like, eh. But like, there is some solid stuff. Feel Invincible and Back from the Dead, and I Want to Live. I mean, those songs are pretty fine, I guess. And I guess The Resistance, even. It's funny that the singles are pretty much like what I pretty much enjoy on this album. Like, the rest, it's just filler to like back up like a lot of it. And like, you could tell that Skillet was like really like trying to be the uplifting rise up kind of band. I mean, they had an album called Rise, so why not? Why make every song about rising up? That's basically like their mantra for like the entirety of the 2010s and the 2020s, somewhat. So yeah, Unleashed, not a great album, but I guess you could do worse. And another album kind of exemplifying that, Victorious. Again, not that great of an album, but actually I do think it's a little bit better than those four. Because like there is some stuff that I do genuinely think is fine on this album. Save Me, definitely one of the best Skillet songs in years, I would say. Um and then there is some like solid stuff. Like Reach, I guess. I remember Reach and Never Going Back. Like, those songs are fine. Actually, like, they are slightly better than like what Skillet had been doing previously. Ugh. And yeah, it's just again, it doesn't really leave me much. It's kind of in a similar vein as like the other albums that I've talked about. It's not like that interesting. It's not like that mind blowing, to be honest, and it's just kind of mediocre. Not much of a thought. And they had a dedication to somebody, Kate McAdams, rest in peace. If you can see that, you probably can't. It's blurry, but yeah, Unleashed. I mean, not Unleashed. Victorious. Wow. Again, not that great. And next up, we get to an album that's a little bit better. Revolution. I feel like this album definitely better than the other four that I talked about for sure. There is cringy moments. Showtime, I said in the review, wasn't very good. And there's other stuff like Death the Fire and like All That Matters that I'm not like, or Unpopular, that I'm not big on. But there is some merit in this album where I feel like, okay, they are going back to what that made Skillet pretty serviceable, in my opinion. Like with Ash of the Wind and Fire Inside Me, pretty good songs, I must say, even though I'm not huge into Skillet anymore. And then Happy Wedding Day, Alex's song, that's shows a lot of humanity in this band, I think. Like, they could do more than what they've been doing. You know, like, it's a solid song, definitely has a lot of, like, emotion behind it, and, like, reflection, and, yeah, I just really enjoyed that song. But, yeah, the rest of the album, past, like, those songs, it's just meh. It's just a very mixed bag. Although, like I said, it is probably their best in a long time, for sure. So yeah, Revolution, and I'm going to get a drink real quick. Like you can tell, my throat's a little bit dry because boy oh boy, we have a lot to get through. So yeah, we're just gonna go. We're actually going pretty early with this one. You want to talk about Invincible? Well, here's an album called Invincible. This came out in 2000, of course. You could tell different hairstyles. Definitely nothing like what they're doing now, which makes it good. This probably is, like, I mean, this is probably the weakest of, like, early Skillet, but I mean, like, yeah, there is some solid stuff. I don't really remember much, but, like, it's definitely solid. I mean, Best Kept Secret and Rest. I remember those songs getting on Air One back when Air One was a thing. Like when it, if you don't know, Air One's a Christian radio station, and actually Rest was the only one that played on there. I never heard Best Kept Secret on there. Whatever. There's like a lot more to really come by on this album than like what you would believe. I don't know. There's kind of a guilty pleasure, to be honest. Yeah. So this is why Invincible's at this point in their career, like, definitely a solid album. Like, if you want to hear what Skillet used to sound like, definitely give this a shot. And then we'll get into their most famous album, and I have it like, no, people probably put this a lot higher, but I just have this a little bit lower. This is kind of where it started. So Awake, definitely their most successful album by a long shot, and it is good, but there is some meh quality to it. Again, like Invincible, like I really don't care for like should have when you could have and stuff like, and it's not me. It's they're kind of just like, you did this like it. They're kind of generically written, and then should have when you could have is kind of a red herring on this album because it's kind of generically written. There's not much to it, but like other songs, I think I'm pretty solid here. I mean, like I could go a million years without hearing Hero and Monster or title track Awaken Alive ever again. But I think the best set of those is probably Hero. I don't know why, just cause. Uh, but there is some genuinely good stuff on this album that I don't mind. Believe being one of them. I think is solid. And then the back-to-back combo of Sometimes and Never Surrender. I think pretty good back-to-back, and it shows like there's a lot of like depth to their set, the radio rock sound that they're doing, and yeah, Sometimes and Never Surrender. I think are pretty good songs on this album, as well as Lucy, which is pretty again kind of like with Happy Wedding Day, very emotive. Although like I think I like Happy Wedding Day a little bit more than Lucy, but like that could be heresy, but I mean whatever. Um, and even some of the bonus tracks too, because I have the fan club edition right here. I can prove it. This is the fan club edition. Had this for years. So yeah, Dead Inside of Would It Matter? Like, yeah, those are good songs too. And on this pack, you do get the radio edit of Monster, not like with the distorted voice or whatever. Like, yeah. Uh, Again, Awake's a good album. It's just like again, not one of their best, obviously enough. So yeah, that's Awake by Skillet. Again, not their best album, like I've said many times. Next up, we have Hey You, I Love Your Soul. Back to the kind of cheesy era of the band, and this was even before they had John Cooper's wife, Corey Cooper, um, and yeah, this album's slightly better than Awake in my opinion, because this is early Skillet. Like early Skillet, like it's kind of interesting to like compare, and that's kind of why like I have a lot of the Skillet albums like that are earlier higher because it's just so weird to think about. Um, so yeah, this is what it looks like. You can tell how 90s this looks. 90s Christian, no less. Yeah, Ardent Records. Huh. So yeah, there is some solid stuff. Hey You, I Love Your Soul, Locked in a Cage, More Faithful. Whirlwind is a solid track, I guess. Coming Down. Scarecrow. There's a song called Scarecrow on the album. Yeah, this is more like industrial, like twinge, but I think it works fine. I don't have much to say about it, but yeah, just know Skillet, Hey You, I Love Your Soul is fine. It's a decent sophomore album, for sure. Now we get to like one of their more well-known albums again. We got Collide, and the reason I have two is because I found this one at Book Off for $1. I've had this one since 2011, so for the sake of brevity here, we're just going to have this one, and then we'll look at the other one to see and compare. Collide, definitely another dark horse in their discography. Definitely more new metal leaning, but there is another one that is more new metal leaning that we'll get to. Um, this one they go like full circle into that without the industrial kind of elements that they were trying to do early on. This is what just straight raw new metal, like, and it works solidly. There is some solid stuff like Forsaken, Savior, of course. Like if you're a Skillet fan, you haven't heard Savior. What are you doing? Like there's even like Open Wounds, which is like a bonus track that was added to this edition because this is their mainstream debut, of course. And then there's tracks like Little More, which is a good, solid. Imperfection, Under My Skin, Energy, solid tracks to be honest. So yeah, and this again, this is like the lesser had version, not from Lava Records, solely from Ardent Records, because this was like released to Christian bookstores instead of like actual bookstores. So it's a nice collector's find. You can see the end label's a little bit different, and the back cover is also different too. And even like as far as the back of the booklet's different. I'm pretty sure the booklet's also different too. Here's it without the thing. There's that. And now the version that is more common is that version. It's a more orange looking background, for sure. And you just point out the differences too, as well on this one. Same back cover for the disc, too. So yeah, Skillet's Collide definitely a step up and more new metal bass, which is probably why I like it a little bit more, but I digress. Now we have the top three, which is very weird. We have their debut album, which again is nothing like any other Skillet album in their discography. Again, this is when they were a three-piece, and yeah, for historical reasons, I think this one is definitely like an interesting listen. It's more grunge based, and yeah, I enjoy it for that. There's I Can, Gasoline, pretty solid tracks as well. Saturn, My Beautiful Robe, and then there's other stuff too, like You Thought and Boundaries, that are pretty good. I haven't listened to it too much, but like compared to like their other albums, yeah, this is different, and it's also like a pretty solid take on grunge as well. Like, yeah, definitely working with that '90s stuff, for sure. See, they were a three-piece. It's so weird to see him, John Cooper, like this, when we're so used to John Cooper with the big beard. Like, and you can tell this one here. Yeah, this is an interesting listen. I think this is very solid. If you love Skillet now, you want to see what they were like back in the '90s, definitely give this a listen. I think it's a very good album. And then we get to my runner-up. We got Alien Youth. Definitely, this was the other one that's a little, it has that new metal thing, but also combines that with like the industrial stuff that they were doing on Invincible and Hey You, I Love Your Soul. I don't have the Ardent Worship because I don't really count that in their discography, and I also don't have a physical copy of that one. So whatever. It's not really an album though. It's more like a live album, but whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here. Alien Youth, Vapor. There's some very good stuff. Kill Me, Heal Me, which was on X 2003. And The Real Thing and You Are My Hope are pretty solid. Ripping Me Off. Yeah, this is a very strong album, I think. Like, definitely gritty, like, but also and heavy, like, yeah, this album showed they had something to prove as well. This is the first one with Ben Kasich, I think, on guitars. I believe. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it's a pretty strong album, I think, and perfect as a runner-up for what I have at number one. And number one should be obvious. I mean, like, if you know much about Skillet, you definitely know, or if you know about me in general, you probably know what my favorite from this band probably is. It's Comatose, of course. Had this copy for over 16 years, which is hard to believe at this point. But yeah, this is a better version of kind of the radio rock kind of thing. This is what they were going to transition into after being a lot nu metal. They were experimenting with that nu metal kind of sound of Collide, and then they went more orchestral and stuff with this album, Comatose, which definitely a good decision on their part, which made their material stand out a lot more. And yeah, this is a very strong album, I think. Like, even with some of the cheesier moments on here, there's a lot of like genuinely good stuff. Like Last Night, pretty good. Comatose title track, pretty good. Older I Get is a good one. Whispers in the Dark, of course, is iconic. Like, there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good guitar work on here too. Whispers in the Dark has a good solo on it. Better Than Drugs is another one. Also has a pretty good solo on it too. And yeah, I think like yeah, there's a lot of strong moments on this album. I will say like Say Goodbye is like the best thing that they've ever done. Or Looking for Angels, even though it was like rap kind of or spoken words somewhat set to a rhyme, which is at the end of the album. But like yeah, compared to like a lot of this stuff, Comatose is where it's at. This is like the high bar that was set for Skillet in this album, and like yeah, it's just a very strong release. I have a lot of memories attached to this album, and yeah, it's just a great album in general. Probably like one of the best of its genre. And it shows that 2006 was a fantastic year for music. And that's pretty much it for me. What do you think of these albums? What do you think of Skillet as a band? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is Scamp the Wolf signing out. Take care.